Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. So the important news and editorial of the day that is relevant for the preparation of civil services examination will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 31st of December. The first important news, that is India and Saudi Arabia Treaty on Criminal Investigation. We'll see the detail and how this investigation will help both countries. Second important news, that is India startup ecosystem and market for the cloud services. Third, the Chief Justice of India has called for clearing the pending cases by Independence Day, that is by 15th of August 2023, and some of the cases are also being pending from 1970 as well. We'll see the detail about this when we discuss the news. Fourth, Center notifies 1 year scheme for food grain. This is a kind of an extension to the other scheme that was ongoing. And the last is an editorial. In the new evolving world, India needs a new vision. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And before I begin this session, those of you who are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do press the like button. Starting the session with the first news, that is India-Saudi Arabia Treaty on Criminal Investigation. This news is important for General Studies Paper 2 under the subtopic, that is bilateral regional grouping and agreement involving India and affecting India's interest. So India and Saudi Arabia are in talks to sign the Mutual Legal Assistance Treaty, which is also known as MLAT or MLAT, to obtain formal assistance from each other in investigations related to criminal cases. Right? There are a lot of cases where the deportment is also required, but in this context, India and Saudi Arabia will have a mutual understanding, a mutual legal assistance to solve the criminal cases. Saudi Arabia is the country that does not have either an MLAT or MLAT or any other bilateral agreement with India to facilitate such investigations. तो इस तरह के investigations के लिए criminal cases के investigation से related कोई भी agreement पहले इंडिया और सऊदी अरेबिया के बीच में नहीं हुई. Recently in November, India has held first virtual negotiation meeting with Saudi Arabia to sign the treaty. Right? So those of you who are having PSIR as an optional, उन बच्चों के लिए काफी ज़्यादा relevant है, where there can be a direct question also. Now, Indian delegation was led by the officers from the Ministry of Home Affairs, Ministry of External Affairs, the CBI and the Law Ministry. Now, about the MLATs or Multi or Mutual Legal Assistance Treaty की अगर बात करें, it's an agreement between the two or more countries for the purpose of gathering and exchange of information in efforts to enforce the public or criminal, or basically more or less this is work towards solving a criminal cases and problems. The agreement that allowed the exchange of evidence and information in criminal related matters between the signing countries. तो दो जो countries के बीच में agreement होगी, MOU sign की जाएगी, वो दोनों countries इस पे work करेंगी. Now there so far इंडिया के साथ अगर बात करें mutual legal assistance treaty की, there are 45 countries with which India is having the MLAT, and India is in discussion with many other countries like Italy and Germany to finalize the MLAT. Now, these are the list of the countries. Even you can take this screenshot for the revision purposes. So list of the countries having MLAT bilateral agreement with India. Total of 45 countries are listed here. You can check one by one. The dates are also mentioned in the bracket. Now, nodal agency for MLAT in India. कौन सी ऐसी एजेंसीज हैं जो इसको इम्प्लीमेंट करेंगे? So Ministry of Home Affairs is the nodal ministry and the central authority for seeking and providing the mutual legal assistance in the criminal law matter. Ministry of External Affairs भी इसमें involved होती है, and they have been involved in the process such as a request that is routed through the diplomatic channel in the ministries. And in section 104 of the CRPC, that is the Criminal Procedures Code, speak of the reciprocal arrangement made by the center for the foreign officials or the foreign governments. क्या एडवांटेजेस हैं इस तरह की ट्रीटी की हाउ बोथ कंट्रीज विल बी म्यूचुअली बेनिफिटेड सो द साइनिंग ऑफ द ट्रीटी वुड हेल्प टू गेट a conviction of an accused in the court of law based on the evidences gathered through the mutual agreement. The MLAT is used to send a formal request for an investigations in the foreign countries, collections of the evidence, examination of a witness, executions order of attachment and classifications of the assets. तो बहुत सारी ऐसी राइट्स हैं जो दोनों कंट्रीज उसके एडवांटेजेस के तौर पे काम करती हैं एंड इवन इट एक्चुअली हेल्प द कंट्रीज टू सॉल्व मेनी कॉम्प्लिकेटेड प्रॉब्लम एंड कॉन्फिस्टिकेटिंग द प्रॉपर्टीज एज वेल. Now, in the past, Saudi Arabia has deported several terror suspects on India's request, and the treaty will help in getting the conviction based on the evidences gathered through the mutual agreements. Moving to the other news, that is India's startup ecosystem market for cloud services, something important for general studies paper 2. Paper 3 precisely, and it is relevant for general studies paper 3 in subtopic, that is Indian economy and issues related to planning, mobilization, resource growth and development. So according to the data which was presented in the parliament, it shows that over the past 5 years, the number of registered startup in India has grown to 452 from 2016 to 8402, that is 84,012. So this is a number we have seen the increase. Definitely many other sectors have helped India to boost the startup ecosystem. Even the government policy has also aided to increase this number. Now, there's a span across a variety of industries such as financial tech, जिसे fintech भी कहते हैं, gaming industries are booming, health sector or health tech, several other cloud-based services that is operated in India is making a huge profit, and also these sectors where the startup were mostly formed. The server and the data storage is the accessible via internet, and the data storage companies are offering a slew of incentives to draw up and retain them through their platforms. Startup credits की अगर बात करें, there's a service which is provided by Amazon. This is known as AWS, Amazon Web Services, and this web services has provided the startup with credit that with low aspirant can avail. This is a startup to use the suite of services from computing, storage, and hosting for free. So the hosting from these entity like Amazon Web Services has been allowed the free of cost. Now AWS, that is the Amazon Web Services, compress a life cycle of a startup, allowing them to become the innovators. Now talking about the startup ecosystem in India, apart from the government policies and procedures and an impetus to bring up the startup ecosystem in the country, India has the world third largest startup ecosystem in the world, and therefore one of the biggest market such as cloud services. Some of the companies supported by Amazon Web Services include Healthify Me. I think most of you must be aware. During the YouTube videos, you find this ads coming. So Healthify, which also developed an app called Vaccinate Me, allowed the features to book close to 50 million vaccination appointment. Now, Fitter is again helping to track the body with vital fitness goal and even the desired goal that is set by an individual. Now, Bengaluru continues to have countries the startup capital. This is again the evidential fact and some basic point. Amazon Web Services is increasing in connecting the startup located in the other cities, which also include Delhi and Mumbai. तो बेंगलुरु की अगर रैंकिंग की बात करें स्टार्टअप में, ये नंबर 1 पे है, followed by Delhi, that is number 2, and then followed by 3 Mumbai. Becoming on the growing demand of the cloud services, Amazon services की बात करें, they have also second data cluster on Hyderabad. So this is how the Amazon Web Services are working. And this would also make 48,000 jobs available across the various sectors. Now, this is about the trend, how it is evolving. So the number of the startup that has been recognized, it has taken a toll, right? And the industries that are the best performing among this is IT. Definitely IT is going to be boosted. Healthcare and life science, educations, professional and commercial services, agriculture, food and beverages. The Chief Justice of India called for clearing the pending cases by Independence Day. This is the third news. Important for General Studies Paper 2 under the subtopic, that is the structure, organization and function of judiciary and executive. The Chief Justice of India, while recently addressing the Andhra Pradesh High Court, have voiced a concern over the long pending cases in judiciary, and some of the cases has been dated way back to 1970. He said, the Chief Justice of India said that the country should ensure judicial clock to move ahead, and these should be moving ahead 10 years down the line. तो 10 साल हमें आगे जाने की जरूरत है. जो भी ऐसे केसेस काफ़ी पेंडिंग पड़े हुए उसे इंडिपेंडेंस डे जो नेक्स्ट ईयर है 2023 तक रिजॉल्व करने की जरूरत है. Now, the pending cases in India, lower court, high courts, and the Supreme Court across the country, almost 40 lakh cases has been delayed due to some kind of document that is awaiting, and more than 63 lakh cases that are recognized as to be delayed by the National Judicial Data Grid due to the non-availability of counsel. Now, if you look precisely about the data and the numbers, this is the number 3 crore 93 lakh 21,607, right? So these are the cases that has been pending. और कुछ cases अगर बात करें year wise, these are the percentage wise data, and the duration of the pending cases is also there. How many civil cases are there? How many criminal cases are there? And if you look into the judges part, like the strength of the judges, the manpower, so shortage of the judges is also evident. Subordinate court में जितनी vacancies हैं, sanctions हैं 22,444 and only उसमें 5223 vacant है अभी भी. High courts में 1079, only 427 is vacant. In Supreme Court there's 31 with 6 is vacant. Number of judges, if you see for UK per million populations की अगर बात करें वहाँ पे 107 है. UK 51 and India we have 17 only. So this is again a factual information that you can utilize in the mains paper as well. Now, talking about the benefits of digitalization, the Chief Justice of India, Mr. D.Y. Chandrachud, has underlined the importance of technology, and he said that digitalization has immediate benefits in the pendency case that is operating in the lower court, high court, and judicial. At multiple stages where an interim order is appealed, an application is filed before an appellate court in the High Court and Supreme Court, the record of the district court is called for, and this record remain within the appellate court till file are disposed of. However, with the digitalization of record, the record that is received can immediately be scanned and sent back to the trial. It does not suffer any delay. So digitalization has definitely help the judiciary, although the full potential of digitalization has not been used by the lower courts as well. कई बार बेल के केसेस में भी बहुत सारी कंसर्न जो CGI उन्होंने रेज की थी. So these things need to be worked upon so that the process has to be expedited with the aid of technology. Now, moving to the other news, Center notifies 1-year scheme for free food grain, something important for General Studies Paper 2. Under the subtopic, that is the welfare schemes for the vulnerable section of the population by the center and the state government. Recently, the Union Ministry for Consumer Affairs, Consumer Food and Public Distributions has issued a notification, and this notification called for providing free food grain to all eligible households under the National Food Security Act 2013. So this is the benefits that will be given by the NFSS. So National Food Security Act है, उसके through ये सारे benefits दी जाएंगे. The decision by the center was taken in pursuance with the Schedule 1 of the National Food Security Act 2013. The central government hereby decided that the rice, wheat and coarse grain shall be provided free of cost to eligible household under the Section 3 of the National Food Security Act for the period from 1st of January 2023 till December 1st, 2023. So पूरे साल के लिए गवर्नमेंट ने ये डिसाइड किया है that free food grain will be provided. Now, there will be the appointment of nodal officers who will be looking into the part of implementations. The ministry has also appointed 18 nodal officers to ensure smooth rollout of the food grain distributions under the scheme. This officer will be the rank of deputy secretary and the director levels. Besides, it will ask the Food Corporation of India to visit fair price shops of the first week to roll out the food grain schemes. Now, the government has also decided to cease the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana. तो गरीब कल्याण अन्न योजना को खत्म करने की बात की गई है because this was valid till December only, right? And this started during the COVID-19. The central government has, however, discontinued the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana, which was launched in April 2020 during the COVID-19, and 5 kg of the food grain were provided to every person under the National Food Security Act entitlement of the 5 kg food grain at subsidized rates. Now, the National Food Security Act beneficiaries will be provided with the food grain. Now, they have to buy it actually, right? So, subsidized rate may 3 per kg, wheat 2 rupees per kg, and Nutricellus at 1 rupees per kg. The National Food Security cover 81.35 crore of the people, and the center will beat the cost of 2 lakh crore people to food with them and even provide the nutritional and food security. Moving to the editorial of the day, that is, in the new evolving world, India needs the new vision. Something important for general studies paper 2 under the subtopic, that is, government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from a design and implementations. So, what are the issues under this editorial? First, talking about the theme of this editorial. The theme is about the new vision of India, and some of the important issues will include important events, India's economic growth, global challenges, social harmony and necessity, decentralizations, and the way forward. Now, the year 2022 can perhaps be summarized by a quote by the Vladimir Lenin, where it says that the decade where nothing happens, and there were some weeks where the entire decade happened. Right? This is you can use as a punchline in your essay as well. So this year began with the surge of the COVID-19 pandemic. We have seen some of the waves that was witnessed, and thanks to the remarkable collective vaccination that took place and the efforts that was made by science and technology, business, government, and other people across the world. Now, कुछ important events की अगर बात करें, so just 2 months into the year, right? So like there was an onset of Russia-Ukraine war, and this was one of the highest possible global disorder that took place. And retaliatory economic sanctions, weaponizations of the trade dependency has triggered the inflation recession, and the gas shortage in winter make lives more miserable for millions. The era of innovations, consumer technology from America, Europe, and other parts, the Taiwan, Korea, Japan consumed. Even the China, Brazil, and India seems to have nearing an end. So this was some of the precise important events that took place. Apart from that, talking about the India's economic growth, India's explosive export over the last 4 has created millions of jobs in the valuable, basically in terms of the foreign reserve, spur domestic productions and consumptions. India stand to gain the established trade order. Ill effect can also be squeezed by emerging bipolar world, Western Russia, China, and trading blocs. So these were some of the economic growth that potentially was witnessed by India. Now, global challenges की अगर बात करें, in the midst of the profound global challenges, military aggressions by China against India was a concern. The China's advancement into the India's territory in both undeniable and unacceptable. China ने manage किया realignment के लिए भी, and even the strategic debt diplomacy where Sri Lanka was also victim of it. Economic power and common enemy doctrines. China's economic growth was a factor that world is giving the confidence to boost another power to indulge in such aggression. तो चाइना की अगर बात करें, उन्हें बहुत सारे ऐसे कंट्रीज हैं जहां से क्रिटिसिज्म का भी सामना करना पड़ा. Social harmony is a necessity. Social harmony is a necessary conditions for India rise and economic power. Factors that can afford to differentiate amongst the people, multiple identities working together, sows distrust and heart in the bias of the work, religions, identity, caste and class, and even ability is the matter. At the time, reimagining the India's overall strategy and reevaluating our normalcy would be the policy framework. Decentralization is again something very important, which definitely call for a lot more other innovations. So India's political governance model called for great decentralization and federal reform to cater widening diverse status. Centralization play a critical role in holding together, building up the republic in first half century after the independence. The way forward in this context would be there's an imminent need for two modernizations, augmenting our defense forces capabilities, state of art weaponaries, hostage to antiquate military purchase and norms will be the part that India need to look upon. India need to bolster a geo-economic strategy to gain preferential access to the unique technologies and capital from nations in return to the domestic market access. India's economic roadmap will have to factor in the environmental concern, move away from the monopolies, like furthers to have a private enterprises, investments, and even carve out inclusive labor market which focus on economic development, जहाँ पे जो financial GDP driven growth है उसके तरफ हमें बढ़ने की जरूरत है, and even जो ऐसी losses जो common livelihood में हुई है, जो लोगों की नौकरी livelihood options जिसमें खतरा हुआ है, उस सारी चीजों को वापस से करने की जरूरत है. Even for the budget, that will be a deciding factor for India. Right? This is how the way forward can be concluded. Now, moving ahead with the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday's questions. For first question, the correct option is A. For second question, also the correct option is A. Today's MCQ for practice. Olive lady turtle is a carnivorous. Odisha Garimata Marine Sanctuary is known as the world's largest crew cave for the sea turtle. Second is National Urban Digital Mission. It's a Ministry of Communication that has launched the National Urban Digital Mission. It will create the shared digital infrastructure in urban India, working across three pillars: people, process, platform, to give holistic support to the cities and towns. So do check it out for the correct options. These type of questions will definitely help you to get an edge over the upcoming prelims examination. This was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis, followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can let me know. I'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.